right, welcome back, everyone, for a new episode of the Wednesday Watch List. This is my weekly look ahead to all the new comic books coming out this Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. I'm going to give you a rundown of some incentives that might be doing well, new books that are coming out, things you need to be paying attention to, things you should look out for when you hit your shop to pick up your books this week. Hopefully, you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure that you like, you subscribe, you hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And if you want to see this week's rundown of books, don't worry, I got you covered. I'll be back as soon as the short little intro plays. All right, let's just get right into it with my personal picks. These are the top of the pile, things I can't wait to get a hold of when I pick up my books this Wednesday. Starting off with, as you might guess, an Energon Universe book. That's right, G.I. Joe #3 is coming out this week. Plenty of covers for you to choose from. We got a cover A, we got a B, and even a C cover coming out with this edition. So we got a Villa Lobos there in the middle, we got a David Finch, and we got the A cover as well. Not to mention the incentives that we usually see, including a 1 in 10 connecting cover, a 1 in 25 that gives you that classic burst background, as well as a pretty awesome 1 in 50 that is actually a foil edition. I really dig that that #3 foil there in the middle. I like the design of it. I actually made sure I ordered one, and you can find those for actually under ratio. You can find them half ratio in a lot of places if you go looking, because that's where I found it. Found it for like $22. So a 1 in 50 that I like the cover for $22. I figured I'm buying in. So I did personally, because again, I'm a G.I. Joe fan and I just really like that cover. In addition, we do have that 1 in 10, which, as I mentioned, is a connecting cover, as they have been doing with all of the Energon Universe stuff on the 1 in 10s. So far across the first 3 issues, David Nakayama has given us 3 ladies going 1, 2, 3 there on the 3 issues. We'll see how long this goes. I think it might go out to 5. It could end at 4. I'm not sure. It depends on where that first arc ends. But still, connecting covers on the 1 in 10 is nothing new, and it's still pretty cool. So if you're collecting them, here you go. This is what we got out so far. Now, in addition to what we're getting out of the Energon universe, Image is giving us something else kind of sneaky. Going back to the OG original Witchblade time frame, we are getting introduced in this newer version of Witchblade to Jackie Escato, the Darkness. And as you know, if you read the original run of Witchblade, the Darkness and the Witchblade are at odds with one each other. They're opposing forces, if you will. So it is kind of fun to see them going back to the original Top Cow stuff and bringing the Darkness in here with issue 7. Kind of dig it. This is Silvestri cover here. We're also getting a B cover here as well. And then you got some other options with a couple of incentives, including a pretty fun Silvestri homage to himself on an Uncanny X-Men book. That's right there in the middle, the 1 in 25. I mean, keep an eye on that 1 in 50 as well, which is right around ratio. I've seen a couple like in that $55, $60 range, but not a lot of sales, just the kind of asking prices. So we'll see where the 1 in 50 goes. But here's the homage again to that original Brood cover back on Uncanny 232. Pretty fun, and people actually are liking this. They were looking forward to this for a little bit here, as we can see some early pre-order sales on that 1 in 25 going for around ratio, then $30 and as high as $45. Asking prices right now, as far as what's on the market today, $45 and $50. So they're pretty steep asks, looking for about double ratio. Will that hold? Will more copies come to market before or when we get to Wednesday? We'll see how this plays out. But this is one to watch, considering some of those early pre-sales and what some people are asking for right now. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on to see how this one plays out. Now, it feels like it's been forever that we've been building towards this, but Marvel is also finally giving us their version of Ultimate Wolverine here, with Ultimate Wolverine #1 coming out this week. Cool. I mean, we've got the, Wolverine finally. But like I said, it feels like it's been forever. I mean, with that tease in that 1 year into the Ultimate Universe, it feels like this has been a long time coming. But multiple covers here, starting off with the cover A. We've got B covers. We've got connecting C covers with the Maker on there. We've got a Bermejo there in the middle. We got a Lionel Francis U featuring Omega Red there on the side. And then we've got some incentives if you're interested as well, including a Virgin version of that Lee Bermejo in the middle as our 1 in 100. 100. Pretty cool 1 in 25, and I really do like the Delato on the 1 in 50. Haven't seen that kind of work out of Delato in a while, it feels like, but it's good to have him back doing some of this Marvel stuff, especially the Wolverine type characters. So keep an eye on those. Ratio basically is what we're looking at as far as pricing goes. So nothing really going above ratio yet. Dipping a tiny bit below, like the 1 in 100 is around $90 or so. The 1 in 50 anywhere between 40 and 50, etc. So keep an eye on it. But it looks like there's plenty of copies to be had, considering multiple store exclusives also helping push those incentive number of copies available up. So with that said, for those of you out there who haven't tried Whatnot yet, please take a look at my link below. Give it a shot. Sign up and get yourselves a free $15 for you first-time users to spend on whatever you want with whomever you want. No strings attached. You get to try out the app, try out Whatnot, and get yourself, something nice for 15 bucks or 15 bucks off of something more expensive if that's what you want to do for. You really got nothing to lose. You help out the channel and you get yourself in the meantime just for giving it a try. So give that link below a shot and take a look if you haven't already. Now, with that said, let's get right into my reading list. These are the other books that I can't wait to get to because I, like many of you out there, actually do like reading these comics and not just collecting them to flip them or sell them or just for the cover art. I buy plenty for just the cover art, and we'll get to those ones later. But there are plenty here that I do like actually cracking open and reading the contents of the books and the stories. So with that said, what's on the reading list for this week? Well, we're getting the second issue of Laura Kinney's Wolverine. I was pleasantly surprised with issue 1. I thought it was going to be some, nonsense story, just kind of forced in there, rehash of her original run or something. But no, it actually seemed kind of interesting, and I'm on board for more. So issue 2 is coming out, facing off against Elektra, Daredevil Elektra. I wish she would just go back to being Elektra, like full time, and lose the, the Daredevil, moniker. But it is what it is. I don't mind if she keeps like the horns and the look, and she's tag teaming with Daredevil. I just feel like it's just about time for her to just be Elektra again. Let her be her own character. But with that said, cover A here. There is a Villa Lobos cover B option as well. There might be other covers that I won't show you here because they'll end up in other segments later. But with these two options here, we do have a virgin version of that Villa Lobos as the 1 in 100, as well as a 1 in 25 option here as well, both of which are pretty solid and pretty decent. I like them. Not actually doing anything as far as pre-sales go. In fact, I couldn't find any pre-sales of this 1 in 100 Villa Lobos yet or listed. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's going to be tough to find or what, but can't give you any market on it yet. So there's no market going into Wednesday. So we'll be surprised when Wednesday hits whether this is a book that people are chasing or they don't really care about it and it's just going to sit on the shelf. Personally, I'm fine with just paying for the trade dress. I don't need to pay up for the 1 in 100s because they're just too expensive. I mean, it's a lot of money to be coming out of your pocket on a new comic Wednesday just to get a high ratio incentive. I get it. Not all of us have the same budgets as everyone else. And if you got the budget to buy these, big ratios, go for it. I mean, help yourself. But me, I got to pick and choose when I want to go in big on one of these high ratios. So normally I just got to stick with the trade dress and I'm fine with that. But with that said, that's not the only X book that's in my reading pile for this week. I also want to see the next installment of Storm. So I've been enjoying the Storm series so far. Still waiting to find out about that Eternity business and kind of powering her up a bit. But we'll see if we're going to get to that here or if we're going to deal some more with the Doom and the Magic side of things. But issue 4 of Storm coming out this week. We've got a cover A here. Not too bad. I mean, it's not too bad of a cover here just for the cover A, but a lot of good options apart from that. I mean, we've got the Marvel I don't know what they're calling them, but with the characters reading other Marvel comics, they mix these in every once in a while. I know there was a Cap one and a Nightcrawler one not that long ago, but they had a name for it, but I just can't think of it. It's like a weird little subset they've been doing, kind of sneaky. Then we got a Western variant. I don't know if this is going to be a new trend or if David Nakayama was just listening to the, Last Country Beyonce album or what, but we've got a Storm Western cover here, variant in the middle. Not sure if we get any more Western variants, but could be the start of something new too. I don't know. And then we got another fun option over there as well on the left. With that said, no incentives, and we might have another variant or so to talk about again later on in the show when we get to the subset section of theme variants. But with that said, outside of Marvel, I'm also looking forward to continuing the story of Feral. I was, again, pleasantly surprised this wasn't just a rehash of Stray Dogs. I like the angle they took with this, and I'm enjoying the story, so far. And we're 9 issues in, and I'm still on board for more. So with the stray cats here and seeing what this crazy cat lady's House of Horrors is all about, like, I'm in, I'm down. It's taking some interesting twists and turns along the way. I'm still on board for more, so I can't wait to see what these poor felines are up to in this issue 9. We've got cover A here, as well as the more horror movie homage in the middle there. I believe that's Silent Night, Deadly Night, that they were doing as far as like the movie poster goes. And then we've also got some incentive virgin options here, including a 1 in 10 and a 1 in 25 with some cute kitties if you are on board for that. I mean, I know Bubbles would be all on board for that cover there in the middle. Trailer Park Boys, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I mention Bubbles. But with that said, you know how you have to get some things that you don't want to buy. It's just those things you just got to do to keep your collectibles safe. You got to buy bags and boards. You got to buy boxes, short boxes, long boxes, CGC graded boxes, top loaders, whatever you need to keep your collectibles and comics safe. You got to spend the money, so you might as well save some money while you do it. Use my link and my code RENA10 to save yourself 10% off your next BCW order to keep your collectibles safe with your bags and boards. Because again, it sucks having to spend that money on that stuff. So any chance you get to save, take advantage of it and use this code and get yourself 10% off with that RENA10 code. Because again, you just got to do it, so you might as well save money while you do it. Now, speaking of just got to do it, that's the next segment that I want to get into. This goes beyond my reading list. These might be some books that I'm a little behind on reading, some books I just need to finish. I got to buy either just to continue my collection of them or just wrap up the series or mini series, whatever it might be. These are books that I might be behind on that I still got to get. So that's why it's a just got to do it section. Starting off with the final installment of Skin Police, which I did enjoy, but I've only read the first 2. I'm an issue behind, so I still got to read issue 3 before I can get to issue 4. But I've liked the story, even though I do not like the title. I don't know. I just don't like the name Skin Police. It's just weird. It feels like I'm reading a nudie book or something like that. But that's not what this is about at all. It's a pretty good sci-fi story as far as I got through with the first half of it, with the first 2 issues. I just got to get to the last 2 to see how this thing plays out and wraps up. With that said, this final issue 4 is coming out this week with a cover A. There's a B cover option here as well. I mean, I'm fine with the A. And then if you're really feeling froggy, you can jump and get a 1 in 20 here option as well, which is probably not going to be that easy to find because this is not a heavily printed title, a heavily ordered title. So these are going to be for you, those collectors that might seek these out down the line if this ever gets optioned or adapted or something like that. So who knows? But while it's out there now, could be tough. There is a 1 in 20 option for that issue 4. Now, in addition to this, I've fallen a little behind on my Batman and Robin. I didn't get through all of issue 3. I started to read issue 3, and then I got sidetracked. So I still got to read issue 3 before I get to issue 4. But I am enjoying this throwback tale to the early days of Batman and Robin. Mark Waid, Chris Samney, good creative team, good story so far. Like I said, I'm just a little behind. So it's in the Just Gotta Do It segment. So I'll catch up eventually, and these will find its way back to the regular reading portion. But for now, it's Just Gotta Do It. I'm fine with the cover A by Samney, but we do have a couple other options here too. If you want a B or a C cover, I like B cover. I'm not so big on that third option there. I don't know, just a goofy look on Robin's face. It's just looks like Jerry Lewis. I don't know, just got a goofy look. That said, I do like the 1 in 25 here, but it is a 1 in 25 for DC, and many of these do not sell for much as far as pre-sales go. You can basically find this for like $10 in a lot of places. So if you are interested in the 1 in 25, you could probably find it. I kind of dig the look of it. It's got like a Batman, the animated series kind of vibe with the cityscape and the lights, and you got the blimps and the silhouettes. I don't know. I kind of like it, even though it's it's an issue 4, 1 in 25. I don't know. If you can find it cheap enough, maybe give it a look. But with that said, we're also getting the second issue in the New Gods. And this is here because I honestly didn't love the first issue of New Gods. I don't know. It just didn't capture me. I'd hoped it was going to hook me right away. I'm still interested. I'm still on board, which is why I'm still getting issue 2. It's going to need a little bit more. And I do like Ram V. I love the detective run that he did. I love the Savage Shores and a bunch of other stuff that he's written over the last few years. It's just issue 1 of New Gods just didn't hook me. I don't know. I wanted a little bit more. Hopefully we get it here in issue 2. So it's in Just Gotta Do It for now because I'm not giving up on it. I just got to see how this plays out. So we got a cover A, which is fine by me. I'm fine just getting this one. But if you want other options, we do have them with some B covers and C covers here. And then there's even an acetate cover that you can go and pick up for like $10, I think it is. And then there's a 1 in 25 option here as well with an old school Orion Mr. Miracle with a whole crap load of parademons flying around at him. And again, you could find those pretty cheap. It's like a normal old non-female character DC 1 in 25. It's just the nature of things. Like DC 1 in 25s are like $10 to $15 like all the time at the start, unless they feature a prominent female character. Then you start looking at them coming out the gate at like $30 and $40 for 1 in 25. It's just how DC incentives go, like these last year or two. So this is down as for part of the former, $10 to $15 if you can find it. If you want it, pick it up, go ahead and get it. With that, also, I'm still on board for The Question, All Along the Watchtower. I almost had this in the reading list, but it's still kind of, it's still iffy for me. I'm not 100% on board to keep seeing it all the way through, but I'm still on board for now. I like the idea of her playing a cop in this superhero city of sorts up in space at the Watchtower. It's an interesting concept. And again, I'm curious. I want to see how it plays out, but I'm not still 100% on board for it. So we'll see how it goes. Issue 3 is out this week. All cover price options with cover A. Then we've got a nice Perillo there in the middle, as well as a third option there as well. So pick the one that you like, and you should be fine with whatever one that you want to get. Now, normally we would start in with the new #1 section, and I'm going to kind of start in sort of with a new #1 because the next book should be a new #1. So I'm just going to get right to it, bringing back the WTF section.
WTF, Gary. WTF. What the fuck does WTF mean? What the fuck? Oh.
Now, why is this here? Well, I don't like these type of throw-in issues. And specifically what I'm talking about is I'm enjoying reading Amazing Spider-Man, the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man, whatever, I think that's what it's called. But I hate when they throw these weird midstream in-between stories in. Just make this a one-shot. Call it 8 Deaths of Spider-Man special. Whatever you want to do, do that. Do not make this issue 65 point deaths. What is that? That's not even a number. You can't just throw a word in on top of a number and make it a new number. That's not how numbers work. I don't like this. Even if they did the point, I hate that too. This is issue 65.1. What? 0.1? I'd give you a pass. If it's a half, okay, you're squeezing a story in that takes place between the next 2 issues. That's one thing. That's not what's happening here. This is just a side story. Just make it a one-shot all its own. I don't know. I know this is just kind of become my little ranting section, my little ranting segment. But seriously, why do this? 65 point deaths. 2 cover, though, if you want. You got the skull, which is pretty cool, and we got a B cover there as well. Go ahead, pick them up if you want. And then on top of this, I do have another book that I want to include in this WTF section because this has to be one of the worst theme variant ideas out there, at least in my opinion. Who asked for this is what I'm asking you. Because all through Avengers Assemble, and this is the final issue, I believe, but all through this, they decided to do these Avengers jacket variants? Like, seriously? We're just going to dress them up in these weird, crappy 90s, puffy, sleeves rolled up coats, and we're supposed to be like, awesome. They've got matching jackets. Like, they did it on all 5 issues so far. I don't know who wanted and collected these, but man, it just reminds me of that Simpsons bit.
And perhaps you should be taught a lesson by us, los souvenir jaquitos.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. This is, again, one of those not good ideas, in my opinion. So that's why it's here in the WTF section, because I just don't get who thought this was a good idea for a theme variant. I don't know. That said, now let's get into the actual new #1s for this week. We don't actually have a lot. This is actually a shorter week than I thought we were going to get. Right here in the middle of the month, I figured we'd be packed with books, but honestly, going through the list, it was very light across the board, very light for DC, but pretty light for Marvel, and indies followed suit. But with new number ones, we got a couple out of Dark Horse that we can throw out here with Behemoth number 1. So when a giant monster attacks a city, a busload of people, I don't know, but we got a one-shot. Behemoth looks like some sort of kaiju story. If you're into it, cool, go check it out. One cover option, you could pick it up and not have to decide what cover to get. There's only one option, so you can get that. Speaking of one cover option, you can also get Shadow of the Golden Crane, issue 1 of a new 4-issue mini featuring Hellboy. So, Hellboy's still rolling on. BRPD from the 1950s. World of Hellboy continuing on. So if you're still reading that, still into it, this is stuff I really need to get into and reading because I never really read a lot of Hellboy stories. I haven't. I enjoyed all of the movies. I liked the original 2, and I even liked the David Harbour one. I haven't seen the most recent one, the Crooked Man one yet, though, but I'm sure it'll probably be decent. I do have the library editions, the huge collected editions. I just haven't had time to crack those bad boys open because I got new books each week that are taking up a lot of my time. But one of these days, I'll get to those. With that said, I don't know, more Hellboy coming your way if you're into it. Also, following up on the Civil Corps storyline, we're getting a new start off for the Green Lantern side of things. And admittedly, I fell behind. I still haven't finished Civil Corps, so I don't know if I can read this one yet or if I got to finish up first. We'll see. But I do have a little bit of Civil Corps to kind of catch up on before I guess I can get to Green Lantern Fractured Spectrum number 1. In a galaxy of change, a new Corps must rise. So I guess there are changes ahead. I'm curious, but like I said, I'm a little behind, so I'm going to have to catch up. With that, we've got a couple options here with the cover A, and then there's also a B cover, which ain't bad, and then there's just a foil option of that cover A, which you take some of the trade dress off and make it shiny foil. There you go. No incentives. Those are your options. Pick which one you like and see the new direction for the Green Lantern Corps going forward. Okay, going over to the Image side of things, we're getting another installment in that Horizon experiment with those connecting covers by Tulalote. But here we first have Finders Keepers. As it says, it's a reverse Indiana Jones story. It actually reads, following a Puerto Rican reverse Indiana Jones, a thief stealing from museums to return artifacts to their native cultures. Okay, so liberating stuff from museums and bringing them back. All right, I gotcha. Could be cool. Anyway, Finders Keepers number 1. We have a cover A. We've got, like I said, the Tulalote connecting cover with the trade dress, and we got a sketch cover. Then we also have that 1 in 25 version of the Tulalote, and again, that connects with the Manchurian, that a couple other those weird titles. I can't remember all the names, but it's part of a set. I think there might be one left, or this could be it. I feel like there might be one more in February coming, but they're doing like one a month. And again, these covers do connect. I'll show you them. If there's one left, I'll show you them all together. If not, I'm sorry, I forgot to show you all of them. But I know I did it early on. They've been so spaced out that it was hard to keep up with. But with that said, let's keep it rolling. And we've got another new Herald of Galactus in a what if story. So what if Galactus transformed Moon Knight this time? I feel like they just kind of put names in a hat and just kind of pulled them out, because where they got Gambit from last week, and now we're just doing Moon Knight for some reason. I mean, he's already got Khonshu. Like, what's he need Galactus for? Like, it's making things all muddled and confusing. When you start taking multiple mantles and start throwing them on characters, then you start ending up with Cosmic Ghost Rider. Whatever happened to him? That said, Moon Knight. So we've got a nice Ron Lim cover here on the cover A. Pretty cool sci-fi throwback there in the middle. And then we got another Galactus with a glowy Moon Knight. I mean, it's got a cool look. I mean, you're basically just taking Moon Knight's costume and mixing it with Eternity. And boom, you've got a Herald. Okay. And you can see it even more clearly with the design cover, 1 in 10 by Ron Lim for this. So again, you take Eternity, mix him with Moon Knight, and we've got our next Herald, possibly. All right. I don't know. I'm just not really into this. I mean, I'll probably give it a look-see, but just kind of already bored. And I love Galactus. I just don't always love the what-if storylines they throw out there. I mean, half the time they're decent. Like, I read the Hulk one, and it was okay, but it just felt like, okay, that was it? Like, I wanted more, or you're teasing something more to come, or what? Because otherwise, what was the point? Anyway, getting to those theme variants I mentioned earlier, we do have a bunch, and we have a lot to get through here for these segments. So with that, we only got one for this one. This is the Sam Wilson Captain America homage covers. We have this one here on Incredible Hulk number 21. So you got the Red Hulk blasting Sam Wilson. This is also a poster for the movie coming out, so that's also kind of fun because the poster actually made this original Cap 230 start to sell a month or two ago when that poster hit, and now we've gotten an homage cover that's doing the poster. So we wonder if that's going to sell well, or if people will go back and start buying 230 again. But classic Cap cover, done pretty well with the new mix of the two. With that, that's all we got this week. And we got one more coming because, again, it was only a 5-issue set for this one, but we're going to have to wait 2 weeks because we're not getting one until West Coast Avengers at the end of the month on the 29th. So you get next week off for this variant set. That said, last week you got a light load with only 2 Fantastic Four homages, but this week they're hitting you hard. If you're into this set, I think there's 7 of them. So let's get right into it. Starting off with Exceptional X-Men number 5, doing the Champions number 1. Pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty well done. It's match for match, matchy. I'm really out on Exceptional X-Men. It's just the title just wasn't for me, and I can't read every X book that's out there. So I've already dropped this one. If it's good and I'm missing out, please tell me down below because I am a mutant fan. It's just like I said, I can't buy every book. So if it's not reading well to me, I'm going to drop them and come back to them later. Maybe I'll go hunt for them, in those dollar bins down the line. Because I did that with a lot of the Krakoa stuff. Like, you couldn't keep up with titles, but you know what? You could always go back to them and pick them up out of the cheap boxes and go fill out collections and fill out runs and read them then. And that's sometimes a cheaper way to do it. But with that said, here you go. That's one. Like I said, we still got 6 more of these. So Thor is giving us this one because we haven't seen the Beta Ray Bill throwback before. But here it is, done with the thing. Cool. We'll see another Thor 19 cover later on. Here we've got classic Hulk 1. I mean, it's Hulk 1 throwback here as well. So, all right. I don't know why we needed that, but we've got it. So we got Thor and we had Hulk. And yeah, any Marvel book basically that came out this week has a Fantastic Four cover because what else came out? Oh, Laura Kinney Wolverine. Yep, she's got one too. She's got, Sue Storm doing the Frank Miller, Wolverine 1. Not bad. It makes me wonder what all that empty space is for. I get it, her hand's invisible, but it seems kind of silly when there's nothing there. I don't know, but that's just me. And of course, we needed an ASM 300 because God, what would a pile of homage covers be without some of these covers being done again and again? I mean, come on. I mean, Champions 1, cool. We haven't seen that in a while. Cap 230. All right. Now you're giving me something. But come on. How many times are we going to do ASM 300? Yeah, it's with Reed Richards. Ho, ho, ho. Hey, he's all stretchy. And there's a lot of 4s. Cool. And this is on Miles, of all books. So Miles Morales gets stuck with this one. So, whatever. I'm surprised they didn't go with, his cover. I mean, he could have done like Ultimate Fallout 4 and done an homage there, except have the Maker pulling off his mask. I don't know. I'm just throwing things off the cuff. With that said, here's one we see every once in a while. Wolverine 27 being done, usually not by Herbie, but we do sometimes see this pose as classic Jim Lee. But yeah, here we do. We got it with Herbie. So by Greg Land. And he does say after Lee, so he does give the credit down below. I always appreciate when I see artists do that. But okay, so Spirit of Vengeance 5. Yeah, cool. And then we got, this is a cool one, though. I do actually like this next one. This is on Storm issue 4. So you got the Doom, but he's holding Sue Storm on the Storm book, which he originally held Storm in that Uncanny, what was it, 145? Uncanny 145. So I like the connection there. Makes sense. Good homage after Cockrum. Pretty well done. This is probably my favorite out of this bunch. But again, they did give us a bunch because, as I said, they threw down 7 on us this week, which is a big number. And there's 6 coming next week. So they're loading up this month with these Fantastic Fours. Now, probably the surprise of last week, at least to me, I did not foresee the market jumping that hard at those Marvel Rivals variants. I mean, I probably should have thought, it could happen, considering you remember what happened with those Fortnite books way back in the day with the Batman books, but those had codes in them. There were no codes here. These were just variant covers featuring designs that weren't all that great. Like, they were okay, but they were kind of muddled, and like that Venom one was, you just had 3 different images that were just kind of thrown together. But anyway, we're getting another one this week, so watch out. Keep an eye on your shop, because maybe this one pops like the last 3 did. But this time out on Storm number 4, we are getting Storm on a Marvel Rivals, design cover. So this one again is not bad, because you are getting a feature image and then like 2 decent sides, pictures. Cool. But also, there's your regular cover for Storm. So as I mentioned, Storm had all these regular covers, and then she's got the Rivals, and then she also had the Fantastic Four. So she had a lot of other stuff mixed in here as well. But this set is only 5 issues. These Marvel Rivals, 3 came out last week, 1 came out this week, 1 more next week on Fantastic Four number 28. So that'll be the last one, and then we're all done with those. We'll see if the heat, if you will, carries through across the board, or if it was just a one-time thing last week. But with that said, we're going back to a set that we've only had two books so far, and they've been weeks apart. They're really trickling out these Marvel iconic covers, and these are being done by Todd Nauck, I believe. And this week we have it on Incredible Hulk number 21, where it's just, it's an iconic, it's a classic Hulk, and it's, again, this feels like Marvel's answer to those DC foils, where they're just doing a character spotlight on a basically blank background with just a shape or something on the back. It really does just look like those foil variants, but without foil. I guess that's cool. I don't know. But with that said, don't even know how many's going to be in part of this set, but you can see what they've announced so far. 1 came out on the 1st. We got 1 comes out this week, and then 2 weeks later. It's like every 2 weeks, and then coming later this year. So I don't know if it's going to run the whole year or what, but I don't know. This is a set I don't think I need to keep up with, but I'll keep you guys posted, because I still like to keep you posted on all this stuff. I can't buy everything, but I'm sure there's plenty of stuff here that enough of you out there like, even if it's not my favorite. I will tell you what I think of things, but that doesn't mean you have to agree with me. I don't expect everyone to agree with me, but I'm just going to give you my take and show you all the things that I think is worth taking a look at. So whether it be my cup of tea or not. Like these covers, these sweater weather covers. A lot of these are misses for me. I am not collecting this set. And in this week in particular, it's not for me. I mean, I get it. You're in, buy them. Cool. But World's Finest 35, I don't know. Bats and Soups in a hot tub that Soups is making with his little winky eye. He's heating things up for him. All right. I don't know why Batman needs to keep the cowl on, but all right. Cool. Chilling in the Arctic there. And then we also got Nightwing snowboarding in his skivvies. All right. There are a lot of awesome Nightwing covers. This one, again, isn't going to be the one that I choose, but I'll show you a couple later that I would pick over this one. But again, my preference. You buy what you like. With that said, surprisingly, we got a very light week on later printings. Like, there's no like, oh man, there's just going to throw out another reprint from Marvel and a 1 in 25 on top of it. We're getting a breather. We're getting a reprieve for a week. This is all we're getting. Batman 609 facsimile, because I forget who said it in the comments, but they're right. We're getting, I guess we're getting the whole Hush run redone in facsimiles, which I don't know if we need, because these are out there, guys. You could find some of these. Not this one. This one, I'll admit, because of the appearance of Hush, the character Thomas Elliot, this one is an expensive book, so having a facsimile here makes sense as far as a regular edition and a foil, but I don't think we need a facsimile of every issue in this run. I just don't think it's necessary going all the way to 619, but it's not my call. I just wouldn't be throwing out the money that it would take to rebuy all of these when you could buy some of these issues, the originals, for much cheaper. I'm just saying. But with that said, DC is also still slowly working through their crisis. Like, Marvel finished their Secret Wars rundown last year. They did it. Yay, Marvel. They did the Secret Wars, all 12 issues. Cool. DC's really bringing up the rear here with their Crisis on Infinite Earths facsimile reprints. But we've got the regular cover, regular version facsimile. We got a sketch, and they got a foil if you want to pay a couple bucks more for the foil. It's just, I thought these were done, but nope, not done yet. Only at 10. And outside of that, we just got this, which is Wind #1, the second print, which I talked about last week because I thought it was coming out last week, but apparently, I guess it got pushed to this week because Wind #2 is coming out, which also makes sense. But yeah, so this is a repeat. I already talked about this one, but hey, it is what it is. That said, speaking of playing catch up, and how this one got pushed back, let's go over to Oversized for a second. Now, these are going to be those Oversized edition, those big, formerly the DC Black Label, because I don't think they're doing those anymore since Vertigo's coming back. I'm still waiting for it, but they're not doing those big Black Label books anymore. But Distillery is still giving us those Oversized prestige books and regular mags. So magazine-wise, looks like they're playing catch-up on Judge Dredd. So 472 is coming out this week, as well as 473. So we're getting a couple of these, I guess, playing catch up because I guess there was some delays in shipping these out our way. So it's what I saw a few different places that both of these issues are coming out. So and they were supposed to have come out, a couple months ago. So it looks like the Judge Dredd magazine is playing a little bit of catch up for us here on this side of the pond. So yeah, pick them up if you're into that. I mean, there's pretty cool anthologies in here. You can get your Rogue Trooper type stuff in there. You usually get a pretty decent Dredd story and some other sort of other tidbits here and there. It's not all sci-fi stuff. I mean, it's 2000 AD basically, but yeah, cool stuff if you want to read it. Also, speaking of Distillery, I mentioned them. They have another book coming out. This one is You Won't Feel a Thing by Snyder and Jock. It's a good creative team. Got to admit that. And it looks like we're doing some sort of detective story. I'm kind of into it. I'm kind of curious. For fans of Zodiac, Memento, and True Detective, I like all three of those things. You got Fincher, you got Nolan, and then True Detective. I can't think of the dude who created its name. Anyway, point being, I like all that stuff. I probably would like this story too. I just have a hard time spending $9 for these. It's just a lot. It's a lot out of the wallet. But I might have to give this one a try because, again, this scratches me right where I itch. I like this type of stuff. With that said, we've got a cover A. We've got a Tula Lote, an almost naughty cover there in the middle, and then we got a Jay Lee, and then we've got a actual polybagged naughty cover, as well as a sketch cover. So pick the one that you like. Pick the one that's for you. If that might mean you like incentives, Distillery is giving you plenty of those as well, as we've got 1 in 10s, 1 in 25s, and 1 in 50 options. And these all usually are wraparounds, by the way. I can't show you the wraparounds or we'll be here all day. I used to do those on those early ones, but I can't. It's just because then we can only show you one cover. Again, that would be like 10 slides. But they usually have wraparounds, despite the fact that they're prestige format and you're going to ruin the spine to see the whole image. I guess it's just nice to flip it over and say, hey, look, the picture continues on the back. With that said, let's keep it going. Let's just check out covers. I mentioned before, I do love reading comics, but I still buy plenty of comics just for the cover alone. I'll admit it. There's nothing wrong with that. You collect how you want to collect. There's no judgment here. I'm just pointing that out, that sometimes I'll just buy a book just for the cover, like this one for starters. Because I've got to admit, I haven't read Kanto in forever. It's just, it was a thing for a while. Everybody was reading it. It was the next big thing. Everybody was chasing after Kanto. Adaptations coming, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I'm not really interested in reading any more Kanto, but I do like flops, and I am kind of liking this cover here. It almost looks like a cereal box. I dig it. I'm getting it just for the cover alone. As I said, it's cover buy. So that's what this is doing here. So new flops cover. Pick it up if you can. This one could be fun to grab. In addition, I haven't been reading Space Ghost. I tried it. Wasn't loving it. It is what it is, but there are some cool covers here on these Space Ghost books. Usually multiples. I mean, we got a Francisco Mattina. What happened to Mattina? I haven't seen him in a while. I know there was all that controversy and whatnot, but still, I figured he would have more to do than just the random Space Ghost cover here and there. But he's also being backed up by Bjorn Barons, who, again, has been putting in work all over. You got some Spawn books out of Barons. You got some Marvel stuff here or there. The Power Ranger stuff, too. But this is a pretty cool Space Ghost. I kind of dig it. I mentioned Thor earlier. So with Thor 19, the regular cover A, it's just got a pretty cool Alex Ross. I mean, it's Thor. He's chilling on a throne, Mjolnir at his foot. I don't know what he looks like. He's smelling his finger. I don't know. It's still a cool cover. I don't know. I just like it. So, and you got the world tree behind him. I like it. So it's just here. Pick it up if you like it. Or you can get this one, which has a really cool Hela, but I don't love Thor in the background. So this Jan Azulda, I don't know if I'm saying her name properly, but I like the Hela up front and the skull. I just don't love the Thor in the background. If that makes sense. But I like it enough that I wanted to show it off a little bit and say, hey, you pay attention to this if you guys like it. Same with this Hulk cover A. So this is the Nick Klein cover A for Hulk. I thought this was Fin Fang Foom eating him for a second. Then I remembered, no, he's fighting werewolves right now. So this is a giant monster god werewolf or something. Again, I'm half caught up because of 800, but I'm like not completely. So I'm like foot in the water, but I'm not in there swimming, if that makes sense, as far as keeping up with the Hulk storyline. I got an idea. Like I said, I remembered he's dealing with the werewolves right now. So that's not Fin Fang Foom, who I thought it was at first. But still a cool cover regardless. As is this Spirit of Vengeance. This is just, a cool Ghost Rider. Or is this Exhaust? This might be Exhaust. Remember that character that was introduced not that long ago? So a Jay Gonzo cover. I just like it. I like the image. I think it's kind of cool. And yeah. Spirits of Vengeance number 5, I believe it is. And I mentioned the Nightwing snowboarding. Well, you got other options. If you don't want him snowboarding, we got Dan Panosian giving us him on a train. So he's on the L. Or we've got pretty cool Babs Tar showing a beat up Dick Grayson. I'm in. I like it. And then seems simple. This seems very simple, but it reminds me of that Middleton Batgirl cover a bit. And this is Gleb Melnikov giving us this Nightwing on the 1 in 25. Now, this is an incentive. This is the incentive 1 in 25, but it's, again, you can find it $10 to $15 if you want to go buy it out there. I thought about it because, like I said, I do like this. And again, it does remind me of that Batgirl cover that everybody went crazy for. I mean, it was Middleton and it was Batgirl, so we're not going to get the same rush of collectors running to get this one, I don't think. But hey, you never know. I just like it. I think it's pretty well done. And it's an incentive, so keep that in mind. And with that in mind, let's look at the other incentives that we ought to talk about for this week. Not many, but there's a few little standouts that I don't think you should ignore. So with that said, let's see what we got. Starting off with I Hate Fairyland. So the current run of Fairyland is doing pretty well, and there is a Scotty Young on the 1 in 10. So cool. People might chase this, or they might chase the black and white sketch on the 1 in 25. And this is one you might want to watch because Scotty Young has a fervent fan base, like a lot of artists do. And I know we mentioned like McFarlane and whatnot, but it's just sometimes these books could be tough because I don't know a lot of shops are going to be ordering 25 copies of I Hate Fairyland. So those Scotty Young collectors could find pickings pretty slim for their 1 in 25 if they need to get every cover, because there are plenty of OCD collectors like myself who try to get every cover if they can. Just saying, there's nothing wrong with it. It's collect how we want to collect, right? With that said, I didn't find any pre-sales yet for this book, but the asking prices are already looking for double. So they're already looking for $50 a piece on this 1 in 25. So I think that's partly why we haven't seen any pre-sales yet, because the ask is so high, but we'll see if it maintains that price or if they lower it and we start seeing copies of this move. Because again, Scotty Young collectors, I know they're out there. They're probably going to be looking for this, and we'll see what they're willing to pay for it once we hit Wednesday. Just randomly outside the box, Alien Paradiso, issue 2, 1 in 25. This Ryan Brown cover is just pretty awesome. It's just an awesome looking alien. I mean, I like aliens. I like the Alien franchise. I thought Romulus was good. I'm looking forward to the Earth show that's coming to FX or Hulu or whatever. I remember reading. Well, I don't know if I got through the whole first issue of Paradiso. It was meh. So I'll take a look at issue 2, but I'm just pointing this one out again, just for this pretty cool 1 in 25 cover. And again, it's not selling for anything like huge, so you can find it for ratio or less if you want it. I just thought it was pretty cool art by Ryan Brown, so just wanted to show it. Just like I wanted to show these minor Arcana covers. So we got In Hyuk Lee giving us this. This is the regular cover. I mean, it's cool. The reason why I'm showing you the regular cover is so we know this is issue 5 out of Boom, because there is a 1 in 20, which is a virgin version of this. So I needed that other one for reference, as well as the 1 in 25, which I also really like. And Sebastian Fiormora, a lot of great covers last year. A lot of creepy horror type stuff. This isn't that creepy, but it is pretty well done. I love just the overlay of all the designs and everything. I just like this cover. I don't know what to tell you. It's just I just like it. So 1 in 25. It's not doing anything crazy. I've seen copies sell for like $20 as far as pre-sales go. Some asks might be a little bit more, might be up to like 30. We'll see how it goes. I'm just pointing it out that it's just a cover that I thought was cool looking. But while we're here, since it's a Boom book, yes, there is an unlockable, and the unlockable is a virgin done by Aaron Campbell, and it's selling as these unlockables do. You know, it's hit or miss. There's one that sold for $20. Then we have asks looking for $10, $15, $20 from here. Who knows? Some of these unlocks, they are just virgin versions of open order covers usually. And this one I think is off the FOC cover. So I don't know. We'll see if this does anything. Sometimes people chase them. Sometimes they just get forgotten. We'll see which one this falls into as the week goes on. With that said, we're almost done. We're almost done with a shorter show this week, as I said. But first, we have a 1 in 20 incentive for Sectars number 3 by AJ Jothakumar? Yothakumar. I don't know. Probably one of those. But I'm sure you know what this is. And it's pretty obvious. I mean, it's New Mutants 87, but in case you didn't, there you go. I wanted to show you. Keep an eye on it. I mean, these types of incentives sometimes, especially when they're homages, people love to chase them, especially if they're hard to find, and then they might start spending a little extra. Remember that first one? That was like a 1 in 50, and that was off of that great Jim Lee Cap cover. It was Uncanny 268. I got it. Like, that one was expensive, hard to find. This one, well, it might do the same, but for now, nothing to report yet. But got to keep an eye on it, and nonetheless. And with that said, let's get to our final segment, as we usually wrap up with Cheesecake covers. And with that, we'll start off light. This one just kind of popped out, and I was like, oh, well, it's kind of a bikini in the sun kind of thing. Even if the art is a little bit different, maybe not for everyone, but Stand Still number 6, Lee Lowridge story. No, she's not saying prego. She's saying prego, but I don't know. I just thought it fit the section because they're in bikinis on the cover. So threw it in here. And like I said, art style is a little different. Almost has like more of a fine art type of quality to it. We also have Jenny Sparks giving us 2 books to look at. So we got a cover A, and we got a pretty cool Lyrics Lee cover B. I was like, I haven't read this, and this is Black. Look, I stand corrected. Black Label is still rolling, but they're not all the big ones. This is a regular size comic. Anyway, Jenny Sparks, I think, is wrapping up here. I think this might be the final issue of this series. I probably should give this a read because I always did like the Authority, and I did like her character, and some of these covers have been pretty cool. With that said, moving on, we're going to look at Grim Tales of Terror number 1. No, not because I want to stare at the Blink statue from Doctor Who, but you have other options. I just needed this one, so I knew what the title was called, because these other covers don't have the title on them. So I had to use that for reference. But you got other options here, again, with the statue. Reminds me of Blake, that awesome Doctor Who episode with the Weeping Angels. And then we've got the Sonia Matas cover there in the middle, which is also turned into the 1 in 20 Risque cover. So if you're into collecting those, there's your option for this week. So go chase. And speaking of going chasing, we are going to wrap up with a book that could have easily have been put into the Buzz section, or new number 1s, or my reading list, because I'm going to read it. But ultimately, the reason why this book, I believe, exists is for the Cheesecake collector out here, which is why I have it finishing us up here in the Cheesecake segment. And that is, yes, Rogue the Savage Land number 1. We know why they made this book. To sell covers, right? But who knows? Maybe it'll be a good story. I'm going to give it a look-see. Tim Seeley, right, local man, and we're going to see what we got on the inside of this. Like a lot of these covers, as you probably are not surprised, there's a lot of good covers on this book. Try not to go crazy and try not to spend on all of them. But the Carrie Andrews is already a good start. It's got that classic Jim Lee 90s kind of quality, even with the hairy-chested Magneto there in the background. Cool. We've also got options here with Adam Hughes doing a foil. Yes, it's Hughes. I've ordered it. I don't really care for the foil, but it's Hughes. So, yes, I'm getting that personally. I think there's a Nick Bradshaw there in the middle. Pretty cool. Can't go wrong with the Nick Bradshaw either. We've also, of course, got a J. Scott Campbell option, as well as a Russell Dauterman design cover. And, sorry, I forgot who did the one over on the side there with the dinosaurs, but another option as well. Then we have the incentives, which include not only the Virgin J. Scott Campbell as the 1 in 100, but we've got a 1 in 50 Jerome Opeña, which is all right, as well as one of my favorites this week, the Lozano on the 1 in 25. I don't know. I just like the cover. I like the image. I think it's awesome. You can find it actually for a decent price. I think I pre-ordered it somewhere and might have paid ratio or even a $5 above just because I wanted to make sure I got it because I liked it when I first saw it. But I think you can find the Lozano for like $20. Even the 1 in 100 Campbell copies, I believe, have sold right around ratio, but we'll keep an eye on it because they're asking for more. So yes, sold for $95. And then you look at those early pre-sales. Yes, early on when it's first announced, people rush, they get crazy, they get FOMO already before books are even out. $145, $190 back in December. You just should have waited a little bit because look, somebody bought one for $95. Asking prices, though, are looking for $140, $150, up to $200. I don't know if we're going to see those prices by the end of the week because I think there's going to be a lot of these out there because there are a lot of store exclusives for this book because, well, there's a lot of store exclusives for this book because a lot of people and a lot of artists want to draw Savage Land Rogue. A lot of people want to buy covers featuring Savage Land Rogue. So there are a lot of options. With all of those options come incentives for all the copies of those that were ordered. So those incentives will also be out there in the marketplace. So with that said, I don't think you'll have a hard time finding the incentives if you want to go and run for them. But just keep in mind that right now, even, I still feel they're around ratio or less. Maybe something like the Campbell might go above. Like we might see the Campbell at the end of the week like more like 130. But I'm just guessing. Just guessing off of what I've seen in past, weeks prior in my history in doing this and watching these type of books. Just kind of guessing. But I mean, again, you do what you want with your money. It's your wallet. I'm not going to tell you how to spend it. I'm just going to give you my opinion on the books coming out this week and tell you what I'm picking up. And with that said, I'm done for this week. So that's all I got for you. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. I just want to take a moment to thank you for your support and hope you stick with us throughout 2025. We got plenty more coming your way, plenty more shows and show ideas and more fun stuff to come this upcoming year. So with that said, I'll see you all soon with some more content. All right. Bye.